Welcome, everyone, to March the 1st, reading of our Chronological Bible. And we are jumping back into the book of Numbers. And so today we're going to actually read about the Nazirite vow. And this is a special vow that would be taken for those people who just especially wanted to be set apart for God's use. And so God had these special instructions that he gave to them. If you also remember, Jesus was considered, he was from Nazareth. Okay, so a bit of information there about Jesus. It says, then the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. If any of the people, either men or women, take the special vow of a Nazirite, setting themselves apart to the Lord in a special way, maybe underline that, a special way, they must give up wine and other alcoholic drinks. They must not use vinegar made from wine or from other alcoholic drinks. They must not drink fresh grape juice, and they must not eat grapes or raisins. As long as they are bound by their Nazirite vow, they are not allowed to eat or drink anything that comes from a grapevine, not even the grape seeds or skins. Let me just pause here for a moment. They were desiring to be set apart completely for God. A part of that whole thing with drinking from fermented drinks and things like that is making sure that they were under complete control of the Holy Spirit, not giving themselves over to the control of anything else. And so that's kind of the whole idea behind the abstinence of drinking for those who were spiritual leaders. And in this case, notice also God gives this to men or women. Okay, and so there are a lot of instances, both in the New Testament, especially in the New Testament, but even in the Old Testament, where women could be spiritual leaders. There were deacons who were men and deaconesses who were women. Deborah was a powerful woman of God that was a leader of the nation of Israel. So number of times. And so even though there are people who want to disregard women in leadership, we definitely see where God gives opportunity and provision for that to happen. Okay, back to number 5. They must never cut their hair throughout the time of their vow, for they are holy and set apart for the Lord. Until the time of their vow has been fulfilled, they must let their hair grow long, and they must not go near a dead body during the entire period of their vow to the Lord. Even if the dead person is their own father, mother, brother, or sister, they must not defile themselves, for the hair on their head is the symbol of their separation to God. And so this requirement applies as long as they are set apart to the Lord. And so they were like, okay, let your hair grow out. Boy, I'd have a little bit of trouble with that. Let your hair grow out, and let that be a symbolic to the people around you that you are set apart for God. And so people would see these people with long hair. They were focused in on their relationship with God. And so God just was symbolically saying, hey, I want people to notice that you have been set apart for me, and know that you've taken this vow and you're serious about your pursuit with God. It says this, verse 9, if someone falls dead beside them, the hair they have dedicated will be defiled. They must wait for 7 days and then shave their heads. Then they will be cleansed from their defilement. On the 8th day, they must bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will offer one of the birds for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And in this way, he will purify them from the guilt they incurred through contact with the dead body. Then they must reaffirm their commitment and let their hair begin to grow again. The days of their vow that were completed before their defilement no longer count. They must rededicate themselves to the Lord as a Nazirite for the full term of their vow, and each must bring a 1-year-old male lamb for a guilt offering. This is the ritual law for Nazirites. At the conclusion of their time of separation as Nazirites, they must each go to the entrance of the tabernacle and offer their sacrifices to the Lord, a 1-year-old male lamb without defect for a burnt offering, a 1-year-old female lamb without defect for a sin offering, a ram without defect for a peace offering, a basket of bread made without yeast, cakes of choice flour mixed with olive oil, and wafers spread with olive oil, along with their prescribed grain offerings and liquid offerings. The priest will present these offerings before the Lord, first the sin offering, then the burnt offering, then the ram for a peace offering, along with the basket of bread made without yeast. And the priest must also present the prescribed grain offering and the liquid offering to the Lord. Then the Israelites will shave their heads At the entrance of the tabernacle, they will take the hair that had been dedicated and place it on the fire beneath the peace offering sacrifice. After the Nazarite's head has been shaved, the priest will take for each of them the boiled shoulder of the ram, and he will take from the basket a cake and a wafer made without yeast. He will put them all into the Nazarite's hands, and then the priest will lift them up as a special offering before the Lord. These are holy portions for the priest, along with the breast of the special offering and the thigh of the sacred offering that are lifted up before the Lord. After this ceremony, the Nazarites may again drink wine. This is the ritual law of the Nazarites, who vow to bring these offerings to the Lord. They may also bring additional offerings if they can afford it, and they must be careful to do whatever they vowed when they set themselves apart as Nazarites. Okay, number 622. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons to bless the people of Israel with this special blessing. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. And whenever Aaron and his sons bless the people of Israel in my name, I myself will bless them." Numbers 10. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for calling the community to assemble and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one trumpet is blown, then only the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. When you sound the signal to move on, the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle must break camp and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped on the south will follow. You must sound short blasts as the signal for moving on. But when you call the people to an assembly, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priests, Aaron's descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you to be observed from generation to generation. When you arrive in your own land and go to war against your enemies who attack you, sound the alarm with the trumpets. Then the Lord your God will remember you and rescue you from your enemies. Blow the trumpets in times of gladness too, sounding them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month. And blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. The trumpets will remind the Lord your God of his covenant with you. I am the Lord your God." In the second year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 20th day of the second month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai and traveled on from place to place until the cloud stopped in the wilderness of Paran. When the people set out for the first time, following the instructions the Lord had given through Moses, Judah's troops led the way. They marched behind their banner, and their leader was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Issachar, led by Nathanael, son of Zuar, and the troops of the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eliab, the son of Helon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonite and Merarite divisions of the Levites were next in line of march, carrying the tabernacle with them. Reuben's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Eleazar, the son of Shedeur. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Simeon, led by Shelumiel, son of Jerushadai, and the troops of the tribe of Gad, led by Elisaph, son of Duel. Next came the Kohathite division of the Levites, carrying the sacred objects from the tabernacle. Before they arrived at the next camp, the tabernacle would already be set up at its new location. Ephraim's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elishama, son of Ammihud. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Manasseh, led by Gamaliel, son of Pedahzur, and the troops of the tribe of Benjamin, led by Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Dan's troops went last, marching behind their banner and serving as the rear guard for all the tribal camps. Their leader was Ahizar, son of Ammishaddai. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Asher, led by Pagiel, the son of Akron, and the troops of the tribe of Naphtali, led by Ahira, son of Enan. This was the order in which the Israelites marched, division by division. And one day Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, the son of Reuel, the Midianite, "We are on our way to the place the Lord promised us, for he has said, 'I will give it to you.' Come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised wonderful blessings for Israel." But Hobab replied, "No, I will not go. I must return to my own land and family." "Please don't leave us," Moses replied, or pleaded. "You know the places in the wilderness where we should camp. Come be our guide. If you do, we'll share with you all the blessings the Lord gives us." And they marched for 3 days after leaving the mountain of the Lord, with the ark of the Lord's covenant moving ahead of them to show them where to stop and rest. As they moved on each day, the cloud of the Lord hovered over them. And whenever the ark set out, Moses would shout, "Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Let them flee from you." And when the ark was set down, he would say, "Return, O Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel." Okay, so it's pretty awesome. They are now marching on. They've gotten their instructions from God. They're at Mount Sinai, and now they're moving forward, and they're moving towards the promised land. And so, if you remember, you kind of track where we've been. Okay, we start way back. Abraham has Isaac. Isaac has Jacob. Jacob has 12 sons. One of his sons, Joseph, ends up down in Egypt. Really kind of a tragic situation, kind of a family situation, and he ends up down in Egypt, and God uses that whole scenario in Joseph's life to bring his father and his family down to Egypt to save them from this famine that had swept over the land. And then years later, now the Israelites have grown and in number, almost like 1 million strong. They've been placed in slavery. God delivers them out of slavery, out of Egypt, using Moses, delivers them, brings them through the Red Sea, brings them across to the Mount Sinai. It's there on Mount Sinai that God gives them the 10 Commandments. He gives them the orders of society and what to do to be a special called out people, right? And God's whole plan through this whole thing is that he's going to bring redemption to the world, forgiveness of sin, victory over sin, through the Messiah, Jesus. Jesus would come step into this world, God incarnate, God with us, stepping into this world, and it would be through the family of Abraham, through the Israelite tribe, the Israelite family. And so we're kind of seeing this progress happen, and now they've come out of slavery, and they now are in the wilderness, moving from Mount Sinai towards the promised land. And God's giving them special instructions for those people who are spiritual leaders, especially people like the Nazarites who have said, "Hey, I want to be a spiritual leader. I want to be set apart for God and for his use." And God says, "You can be set apart for me, but you got to be willing to live sacrificial life. You can't be like everybody else. You got to be willing to kind of step it up even that much more." And so if you want to follow me, you gotta give of yourself. And you can't be getting, I don't even not want you getting drunk. I don't even want you going near it. I want you to stay away from the wine and anything fermented. Don't even eat the grapes, And so God kind of sets that apart. And the whole point is this. It's spiritual leaders need to be spiritual leaders, and need to be cautious about just the life that they live, and hold themselves to a standard that's a high standard with God. So they got to wrestle through that of God's not just called me to be like everybody else, but God calls me to, just live a sacrificial life, a life that's a life of integrity, a life of honor, a life of spiritual dedication and commitment and sacrifice for God. And so that's really what you're seeing here, with God's whole thing of if you want to be a spiritual leader, it costs you something, but there's also a lot of blessing to it as well, which is pretty incredible. There's a lot of blessing to follow God. And there's a lot of blessing that's included in being set apart for God, whether it's in whatever capacity that is. And so I just love how God begins to kind of mold that in this community called the Israelite family. And it helps us to also see and understand that the requirement is real when it comes to being dedicated and be used by God. not that it isn't real for all of us. I mean, every believer is called to walk away from sin, say no to temptation, say no to sin, and walk in holiness. I mean, Jesus said, be holy as I'm holy. So he's called all of us to that. But spiritual leaders, he's called even to deeper levels of that, and higher levels of commitment. There's an accountability, if you will. Okay, so hope this helps. It's great reading the Word of God every day, isn't it? I appreciate you joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow as we continue working our way through the book of Numbers. And now as we're journeying with the Israelites, we've picked up camp. We're moving forward. We're heading to the promised land. And I'm glad you're making the journey with me. God bless you. Hope you have a really great day.